Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Idea Gen Global Podcast with George Sifakis.
I'm George Sifakis. In a world overflowing with noise, there is one forum where the world's smartest voices connect, where visionaries sit at the same table as innovators, and great minds don't just talk, they act.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.
Excuse me! Taxi!
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
And we are back here on Katz and Cosby. Some really stunning news coming out of Iran. And by the way, this is coming from Time Magazine. They're saying that within a 2-day period recently, 36,000 protesters may have been executed by the regime. Let's go to former Deputy National Security Advisor under President Trump, KT McFarland. KT, this is so disheartening. First of all, do you think that they're doing it on this scale?
How do we get to the truth?
Yeah, how do we find out, KT? And what do you think Trump's going to do?
First of all, nobody really knows, right? Because the regime has shut down the internet. So we can assume as a lowball number is the one that the regime has given out, which is a couple thousand. But who knows how many it is? Does the administration know? Does President Trump know? Probably, because chances are Iran has been thoroughly penetrated by the Mossad in Israel. So Israel probably knows, and Israel's probably sharing. Now, the question then is, okay, so what do you do about it, and what are your goals? You don't want to use military force unless you know what the outcome of this, and you have a specific objective. I mean, I wrote something called the Weinberger Principles of War in the Reagan administration, and what we realized was, whether it was Vietnam or whether it was in the Middle East, that, and then now, as we've learned with Afghanistan and Iraq and Libya and all these other countries, you better have an idea of what you want to have the outcome to be, because just to punish, which makes you feel good, just to punish a country doesn't necessarily lead to the outcome that you want. Now, what do we want in Iran? We want a government, a country friendly to us, sells us oil. We work with them. We want them to stop their nuclear programs. We want them to stop killing their people. And we want them to stop killing Israelis and having proxies. Now, who are we going to negotiate with that with? I mean, I guess that's what I'm concerned with is I understand the urgency of the issue and the desire to punish the regime, but what comes next? If the regime collapses, then who's in charge? And we better make sure we're in charge of who's in charge.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, because nobody really knows, and there's sort of disparate different groups out there. Also, Trump keeps saying, I just saw like about an hour ago, KT, President Trump said Iran still says it wants to talk, and then he, on the other hand, says he's got the Armada with the USS Abraham Lincoln that's pretty close to the area. So what do you think is going to happen?
I mean, I'm sure, KT, the Israelis know what's going on. If the Israelis know what's going on, Trump knows what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure the Israelis are probably the only one that knows what's going on, including even among the Iranians. Now, by having the Armada there, that gives us what? It gives us, it just scares the bejesus out of everybody, right? They know how capable that Armada is. So it has an added incentive for the Iranians to do what we want. It has an added incentive for maybe the next tier of Iranian leaders to step up and, like we have done in Venezuela, make a deal with the United States. They're also there as giving us a whole range of options. 2 weeks ago, we didn't have those options. And we now have a lot of options. We may have to decide at the last minute how to use them, when to use them, against whom to use them. But what I'm looking at in Iran is what is happening to the Revolutionary Guard. Those are the guys who really run things. I mean, the mullahs, they make the decisions. They're the they're the people who probably can't wait to be martyred, in the sense of bringing everybody down along on their heads. But on the other hand, the Revolutionary Guard, they own all the defense industries, they own telecommunications. Where are they? Are they willing to sacrifice and abandon the mullahs? Or are they willing to stick with the mullahs? Or are they willing to do some kind of an accommodation with leaders that would come after the mullahs? And if so, would these leaders be friendly to the United States interests? I'm caring about America first.
100%. I care about America first. Is the Navy still proceeding closer to Iran? Or, I mean, we talked about this on Friday, or are they there already? I mean, it doesn't take that long to get there.
Well, it does take some time to get the big carriers there. I'm not sure if everybody's there already, but they will be there within several days. And the other part is that Israel needs to replenish its defensive systems. Because remember, in the 12-Day War, they drew down a lot of their, their David Sling and Iron Dome and all of their defensive systems. So has Israel replenished? We want this regime to change, but we want it to change in an orderly, non-chaotic fashion. Because what we learned when President Obama willy-nilly toppled regimes is that what came after was even worse. It was Islamic extremism, it was civil war, it was mass killing, and it was chaos. The last thing we need in the Middle East right now, where we're doing so well with the Abraham Accords, so well with the Gaza peace plan, is for the Middle East to devolve in a greater war with masses of refugees, weapons all over the place,
hey,
not sure who's in charge of what.
We're tight on time, but I thank you, and we love you. And anytime WABC, you have access to WABC and to tell the American people the truth. And thank you for coming on today.
Thank you.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.